Here, what you'll see is the foliage, the landscape, the architectural conversation of, if you look at it from above and from below, the movement and the curves are actually the coral reef forms.
Okay.
No? We're able to put together an architectural design that's present, very, I would say, clear of what it is in terms of the concept of, again, the coral reef, the Bangkota, and the idea of the tropical landscape, which simulates actually the underwater world of the Philippines.
We're now here talking to visionary architect Royal Pineda of Buji plus Royal Design Architects,
Yes.
who designed Bangkota, which is the Philippine Pavilion in the Dubai Expo 2020. This is the biggest, no? Or
Yes, so far for the Philippines.
what's the inspiration and the story behind the name Bangkota? Why Bangkota?
The idea is to represent the Filipinos in a very modern way. The Philippines can be very modern, but then can be very rooted. No?
Okay.
So the root that we thought of is the nature of the Philippines, which is, if you really look at the Filipinos being all over the world, we are like the reef, the coral reefs.
Okay.
They're small, but it's the biggest because it's all over the world.
Yes.
No? And we're not just using this word Bangkota just because of that idea, but it's because it is something that we really own, Anton. The Philippines is the center of the marine biodiversity of the world.
Okay.
So we
The
own
Coral Triangle.
the coral triangle, something we own, something that nobody has.
Mhm.
So it's like we're just amplifying the beauty of the Philippines by also getting the very ancient Filipino or Tagalog word Bangkota, which means coral reef.
Okay.
So it's not Bahura is a Spanish word.
Oh, Bahura. Okay.
Yeah, but from and I would like to give credit to our national artist for literature. Actually, when we asked him for what is the ancient Tagalog word for coral reef, we were using Bahura, and it was nice of him to mention that it's really Bangkota. So that led us, and this is the part of what I'm saying, that the Filipinos can start digging into their very roots, helping each other, trying to find and understand where are we really from. No, it's not
Yes.
like we stop from the Spanish times and then
parang usually
we're
stop.
fine, right? So we're forgetting the idea that we are as ancient as nature. No, so
Correct.
that's where we're coming from, the concept.
Okay. Can you walk us through the Bangkota?
Yeah,
So
sure,
I'll
sure.
play the walkthrough and maybe you can talk us through. So what is it? What is this reason?
Here, what you'll see is the foliage, the landscape, the architectural conversation of, if you look at it from above and from below, the movement and the curves are actually the coral reef forms.
Okay.
No?
But is it just one level or it's like a two?
This is
three
actually multi-level. The whole exhibit is actually the whole architecture itself,
Okay.
inside and outside. Though the main content is happening inside in the black box, the enclosed room. But the idea was to create this hologram, almost like an image of scale, so that we can also create the height and the scale that we need from afar. Because take note, we are beside the big countries, also
sino
big
bang-
pavilions.
sinong
We're
photographer?
beside Canada and Portugal. So by looking at the sizes of their plots, they're also big, and we didn't want to develop something with a big plot and small building. Otherwise, but we have to work with a certain size of a building
Okay.
because of budget. But design-wise, if you look at it, we're able to put together an architectural design that's present, very, I would say, clear of what it is in terms of the concept of, again, the coral reef, the Bangkota, and the idea of the tropical landscape, which simulates actually the underwater world of the Philippines. So this is now happening inside,
Mhm.
where we have a lot of this setup of artists, again Filipino artists,
Okay, all Filipino artists.
all Filipino artists. The way we're doing it is the Filipinos are designing it, and we're making and building it with the principle of bahay kubo. No?
Mhm.
The resources, the materials, the workers are doing it in Dubai. So the design,
Okay.
the thoughts are coming from the Philippines, but the production is all in Dubai. So it becomes very practical.
But isn't it looks like steel and iron? Is the material sustainable or what's
Yes,
the concept
the
there?
concept is it's supposed to be sustainable. All of the materials that we're using are based on sustainability, because remember we are seated in the sustainability area.
Area. Yeah.
So
Yes, correct.
right. So the idea is to keep the concept of sustainability, but at the same time we're going beyond the physical concept of sustainability. We are thinking of sustainability of humanity. That's why this is cultural sustainability. It's not about technological sustainability alone,
Mhm.
but cultural. So the idea that we're trying to send here is that every people, every human being should think of how do we also sustain our culture, how do we progress as a culture. So all of these things are part of the presentation.
Yeah. And so, what makes the entire thing Filipino? It's the people behind it, the concept behind it.
I believe it's the truthfulness of everything. If you look at the whole composition of the art, the people who are building it with us, the process, the idea is to become very truthful in a way that it becomes very practical.
Oh.
It becomes very, I would say, clear and sincere in the messaging. Because as you see, the idea is to present all Filipino creativities. So we don't need to try to be Filipino, because this is already
It's already
Filipinos
Filipino.
expressing it. My problem with certain design approaches that we try to make it too literal.
Oh, yes.
To make it Filipino, it needs to become a bahay kubo.
Oh,
But
correct,
the idea here is to become a Filipino of the world today.
Mhm.
You just have to be truthful as a Filipino. Then you put yourself in the platform where the globe and the world sees you,
Mhm.
and the world will see you as a Filipino. So if you try to put things there that's not Filipino, not created, and not thought by Filipinos, then you have a confused audience. Hey, you're presenting Filipinos, but then you're bringing things from Milano, from certain places of the world.
Yes.
But the idea here is to put together the creativity, the imaginations, and the visions of the Filipinos, from architecture, arts, design, products, so on. Food,
Of
yeah.
course.
Food especially.
Of course, yeah. So how long was this in the making?
Well, it was, I believe it took us 4 months in the design. No? There was a bidding process. The bidding was very quick. We were actually given a very short period of time to do this. But then in the development, we were able to get enough time to at least do it by phase. No? And the idea was to, you see, the way we presented our bid to the government was to respond truthfully to the situation of the project. And that is why when we presented this, we presented a design from architectural concept to the content to everything, up to the base cost that we feel and the time that we feel that this project will finish. The idea was to present a full vision, a total design, which I feel the Filipinos should already be in a stage of mindset. So what we're trying to say is that this is not just another building, but this is really this is a manifestation of the minds of the Filipinos today. So when we were bidding this out, we even have to say, we can only express the truthfulness of the philosophy if we do the entire thing all the way to the end.
Okay.
So from conceptual design to the building it
Building it, yeah.
should be all figured out. As a Filipino visionary, you cannot just keep doing a vision. You have to know and you have to understand how to put it together. And that's what I think is important, because otherwise we have this concept of ningas kugon, right?
Yes.
So sometimes it's just that because we just don't know how to put it together.
Okay.
So ningas kugon becomes a bad thing. But actually sometimes Filipinos, we just have a dream, we just have a vision, but it's the execution that lacks. No?
Yes.
So then it doesn't happen.
Okay.
No.
So what's the best way to experience this for people going to Dubai? Because I'm sure people will look at it as an Instagrammable structure. But what's your best advice to
Well,
like imbibe the vision?
For me, first it's nice to see the whole expo, right? Because it's the whole world
Yes.
being there, and I think to appreciate oneself is first to understand the world. No? If you understand the world, then you'll appreciate what you have. No? Because if you're just gonna focus on yourself,
On yourself, yeah.
then you still have this feeling of inferiority. Why? Because you don't know what's out
What's
there.
out there? Oh.
So you always think that you are little, you cannot do it. But when you look at the world, you can see and you can tell yourself, actually, it's almost the same, or sometimes you can even say, I can do better.
Yes.
It is the knowing that gives us conviction and confidence that our country can be at par. I'm not saying that we will be better, because I'm not there to compete. We are presenting the Philippines to coexist with the world.
Okay.
But the people who will come to the expo should first see the world, see everything. I mean, they're there for 3 days or 1 week. It would be nice to see the whole expo, and then so much appreciation will happen if then they start to see their own pavilion.
Wow.
That's how I would do it.
Okay.
I would do it from away to inward.
Inwards.
Yeah.
And then you get to appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. So last question. All the expo, all the installation in expo gets to be installed in the home country. What's the plan for Bangkota?
That's one thing that really celebrates sustainability with this project. I think one good thing, it's not just because we want to be prudent in the spending or we want to save on the material, but I think it's really more important that because it carries a symbol and a way that will guide and somehow open up to the next generation that new mindset that we are presenting. Because remember
That's nice. Yeah.
that the Bangkota, it is actually a symbol of the renewal of the minds of the
The
Filipinos.
Filipinos.
The whole exhibit is about our ancient history, which is nature. I'm going beyond the Spanish times. My reason is we as Filipinos can only be liberated and will be creative again, more creative again, if we understand that our real inspiration is never the Spanish times,
Yes.
never the Japanese times, the American times, but it's the nature of the beautiful rivers, the beautiful mountains, the beautiful, coral reefs and underwater world of the Philippines. So if you like, we're now working with Ezra for a beautiful design for uniforms and for clothing,
Yeah.
And again, the idea is just be free, be yourself, but be inspired by the nature of the Philippines. Then he came up with something so unique, something so beautiful, and I'm telling the world, this is Filipino. This is Filipino. It doesn't relate to any Barot Saya. It doesn't relate to any of this Barong Tagalog, but it's the modern Filipino of today. That is for me freedom. So this is where I'm bringing this is why I'm bringing Bangkota to Clark, because I would like to have the next generations to see
To see.
and understand, just to put that question in their head,
Uh-huh.
that where did I really come from? And from there, it will be a journey. It will be a journey for everybody.
That's beautiful. So this is like our Statue of Liberty in a sense.
Well, it is our own version,
Our own version of freedom.
freedom.
Freedom
Yeah, I would
for the
say
Filipino
the
mind.
word
So-
Bangkota is already for me as is a synonymous word for freedom.
Yeah, oo nga.
Yeah.
Like the Bangkota. When I first heard about it, it ano your mind, di ba?
Yeah.
Ano ba to, di ba?
You would want to
You
understand.
wanted to understand.
Yeah,
it.
and once you're able to understand, then you own it.
Correct.
That's my point.
Oo.
I cannot just let myself be told that you're Filipino, you're inferior, you're this, you're that, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. No. I need to be in charge of my destiny. I need to say, if I'm a Filipino, what's my roots?
Yes.
Where did I really come from? At least I dig in. I'll dig in, I understand,
Mhm.
and when I discover it, it's mine to keep.
To keep
It's
and
mine to
push,
own.
Yeah.
It's mine to present.
To the
And yeah, and nobody will say, no, you're not Filipino. No, I've processed it. I've gone through it. You know, yeah, you can tell me that I'm not, but I'm always Filipino.
Yes.
Whatever I do, it will always be Filipino.
Yeah, I think that's in that sense, so in our awesome planet, we've been bound for 15 years, and our next 15 years is about exactly the same, because we have there are only two countries in the world where 50% of the population is really young, and that's
Mhm.
Philippines and Indonesia, and the young people is sometimes confused.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And what we're doing is basically, we are just triggering a question. We're not telling them what to be,
Mm-mm.
because it's gonna be organic.
Okay.
The big question, if they start to ask, where did I really come from? I'm sure that you did not come from 500 years ago. You were 700,000 or thousands and thousands of years ago, when the mountains were there, when the waters were flowing, where the rivers were beautiful, and the oceans are blue, and it's just an awesome planet. It's an awesome planet. So
Yes,
if
it
that
is.
is understood by the world will say it's one world.
It's one world.
It's not even a concept of different race.
Oh,
It's
yes.
because if your history is nature, you're Filipino,
Mhm.
and I'm French, and I understand that it's my history too.
Mhm.
Because I'm telling you, this concept of country and race are all human-made.
Oo.
These are all man-made.
Yes.
But if
recent times,
you're Filipino, I'm French, and both our history is nature, isn't that amazing? We're basically one. So it's actually the whole concept of Bangkota is going back to nature. It's just understanding nature again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. With that, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you, Anton. Huh?
Thank
It's
you,
nice
man.
to see you again.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited now to
Well-
to feature the whole. Any
Yeah.
last advice or words?
Well, for all the viewers and supporters and followers of Anton, this is really an awesome planet. I do understand it. I am a believer of nature. I am a naturalist and a modernist. And for me, modernity is always about betterment. But understanding nature is very important, because this is where we get all the answers. It's all embedded. It's all just there, waiting to be discovered again. There's really nothing new under the sun. It's all the same. But it's the creativity of every Filipinos, of every human being, that we can create new solutions to better living.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuntong.
Thank you. Galing ah. Galing.